It's Trial Tuesday, and the 4th of July is a fun-filled holiday, of course, to celebrate our nation's birthday, but we also want to keep safety in mind this weekend. Attorney David Ayler is here with some legal advice. David, a lot of activity, if you will, this weekend. And I just kind of want to dive right in. A lot of people partying and celebrating. Open containers. It's a big concern this weekend.
It absolutely is, particularly in the beach communities that we have here. A lot of people going to different events, you know, at their homes or their friends' homes, and then maybe traveling somewhere else for dinner or after dinner drinks. And what you got to remember is, even if you're not driving, you can't get in that car with an open container because you actually could go to jail yourself for that.
I want to ask another question, just confined, say, within the neighborhood, and maybe have a beer and you're walking a couple blocks to your friend's house. Like, is that allowed on the sidewalks?
Well, you know, anytime it's on a public street, it's not going to be allowed. Now, if you're in a private neighborhood or in private property, that's a little bit different. But sometimes people get confused about where they are, and they'll be crossing the street maybe from one residence onto a public sidewalk or a public street to another. That is not legal. Neither is a mixed drink, even if it's not in a container per se. Let's say it's in a cup of some sort, coffee mug, Yeti glass, whatever it may be. You're still looking at the actual alcohol possession open in the vehicle, which is definitely going to be something that puts you in some trouble.
So be smart. Leave it at home. Definitely don't do that.
Finish it and then wait till you get to your next location.
Exactly. Just start it again. Travel. So many people traveling this weekend. What do we need to keep in mind as we hit the road?
Well, you want to watch, obviously, for accidents. There's going to be a lot of accidents, and that comes really from two different reasons. One is you have the amount of people that are traveling either in or out of a place, and the other is that, you know, their familiarity of where they're going and what they're doing. So sometimes it may not be what you're doing or you're driving, but maybe another person's poor driving simply because they're not used to where they are, and there's so much traffic. And then also, unfortunately, you do have people that get behind the wheel making the bad decision after drinking.
Sure. A lot of people traveling out of state, you know, different laws, speed traps, things like that. What do we need to be
You need to really pay attention to where you're going. And obviously, yes, there can be speed traps, there can be road stops. Also things like if you carry a firearm, you need to make sure you know where that firearm is supposed to be placed in another state. So many times people come into this state or they go to another state and they say, hey, I had it exactly where it was supposed to be. I'm a resident of Virginia, North Carolina, wherever, South Carolina. But that doesn't apply in the other state. So you want to be real careful with something like that if you do travel and carry a firearm. Beyond that, watch for those speed traps because it's very difficult. And I'm even speaking from some personal experience here.
I have some personal experience as well.
When you're traveling to another state and then you end up getting that ticket, you end up spending a lot of money, hits your insurance.
Don't speed in Virginia.
Don't, or Georgia, or probably anywhere else for that matter. So you want to be real careful with that if you're going outside of the state and who you're going with and what they bring in that vehicle with you.
Definitely. Another big thing that, of course, we need to touch on, fireworks.
Right.
You know, what are the laws regarding that? A lot of people like to have their own big shows in their own backyard.
It's very important to find out wherever you live what the laws are. Specifically to that, I mean, if you live in a municipality, if you live here in the Isle of Palms, or you live in Folly Beach, or wherever it may be, you want to find out what their firework laws are specifically. Some are banned altogether. Other ones have certain, you know, rules and parameters around it. If you're in an unincorporated area, you just want to look to the county. A lot of that stuff you can find online. It'll avoid headache. It'll avoid tickets. Another issue we also see sometimes is fireworks, even though they may be legal, people doing them too late at night, that causing problems, noise violations, things like that.
Sure. Monday morning, every year, do you get a lot of phone calls? Is there one big thing that people come to you for that they've made a mistake, you know, with over the weekend?
Well, a lot of times you get people that call simply because they're not from here and they've come from out of town and they're not familiar with what the laws are. So you want to make sure you know where you're going, what the laws are related to that, things like open containers on beaches, fireworks, stuff like that. A lot of it's common sense stuff if you actually read it ahead of time. Unfortunately, when people don't plan ahead, sometimes it leads to some bad results.
Bottom line, as always, every time I talk to you, be smart.
Exactly.
About it, right?
And be safe.
Be safe this holiday weekend. Trial Tuesday with David Ayler, and now we're going to send it over to Tom, who is road tripping.
It's time to explore the Low Country.